Hey, welcome back. Just recently, I was having a talk with my kids. They're getting about that age now. They all have jobs. They're out of high school, most of them, and they're working, starting to earn money. And I wanted to give them some advice, get them on the right foot financially as they're going forward, so they don't have to kind of go over the bumpy roads and learn the hard way like I did when I was their age. And so one of the things I wanted to impart to them was the concept of money and how it works and how you can, basically the principle of sowing and reaping. Okay? A lot of people don't understand money is just like seed, like grain. Okay? And it can be sowed and it reproduces. And you can determine, just like a farmer does, when they receive a crop, they go, if they ate all that, say it's wheat, you know, if they ate all their seed, they've got nothing to plant for the next season. Now they might get some volunteers springing up, but they're not going to receive a crop. And they're going to be in hard times that next year. And I see that happening in the natural with people that just, they spend everything they get. They don't plant anything for the coming season. It seems like they're always in need. And so I didn't want to see my kids doing that. And so what real farmers do is they harvest their crop, they pick out their best seeds, they determine how big of a crop they want next year, and set enough seed aside accordingly to plant. And that is really the concept. And it seems contrary to the natural mind that giving away money means that you're going to get some money. But that's really all part of God's plan. He says that He uses the foolish things to confound the wise. So if it doesn't make sense to the wise knowledge mind, that's simply because that's the way God designed it. So I was sharing with my kids, they need to plant, they need to invest their money, they need to sow seed to find something to give into, whether it's a church, whether it's some ministry somewhere, poor people in need in the community they see. They need to find somewhere to plant the seed. And there's a couple concepts with this that I want to share with you. One, that you can plant seed. Two, that seed reproduces after its own kind. Okay? So you plant corn, you do not get citrus, you get corn. If you plant wheat, you don't get apple trees, you get wheat. Money's the same way. If you sow money, you're going to get money. You're not going to get healing. And I bring this up because I've seen a lot of ministers on, like televangelists are notorious for this.
Pastor, those people who are ill, they're making when they plant this seed here, those people who have $10,000 or more to pledge, and they're ill and they're planting that right now by faith for that illness. They're making a covenant relationship with Jehovah Rapha.
Yes.
And that takes it out of the doctor's hands. He is the God that healeth thee. And once they make that plant that seed here, Jehovah Rapha has to keep the other side of that agreement. And people are going to have praise reports all over this country, but first they have to make that step of faith and get into covenant relationship.
If I were a person that was suffering in my body and I was terminal, I mean cancer, or the doctor have gave me a certain time to live, I would get busy right now. And I would get busy if I had to shake. And I don't care how I feel, I would get on that phone right now. I would tell my family, hand me the phone. I'm going to make that pledge, and I would send somebody to the bank and get that money and send that money here to this ministry and plant that seed so that you can get that miraculous in your body.
If you want healing, you need to sow healing, and by sowing healing, you need to be praying for other people. And that's how you sow healing. Okay, so the next concept is soil. Not all soil is created equal. In the natural, if you ever looked at some dirt, it's devoid of nutrients, it's dry, it's not going to produce anything. If you plant a seed in there, or a natural seed, if you can get a plant to grow, it's sickly looking, it's weak, it's withered, not going to make any fruit. On the other hand, if you find some rich, lush, moist, nutrient-dense soil, you plant something in there, wow, it springs up fast, it's lush, it's green, it's very fruitful, it flowers quickly. Money's the same way. Some soil is more productive than others, more fertile. And so you need to look around. So one of the ways that I determine where I want to sow my money is I try and find ground that is very near and dear to the heart of God. And through experience, I've discovered that, one, He's got a heart for the afflicted, poor people, the Bible says that he's a God of widows and orphans. So right off the bat, here's a couple areas of ground that's going to be productive, because these are areas that are close to God's heart. In Proverbs 22:9 we read, "A generous man will himself be blessed, for he shares his food with the poor." Again in Proverbs 28:27 we read, "He who gives to the poor will lack nothing, but he who closes his eyes to them will receive many curses." So you kind of start to see that recurring theme of giving to the poor, giving to the poor. Charity was a very big part of the early church, and they were very adamant about giving whatever the Lord, and giving joyfully from the heart, not begrudgingly. And so that leads me up to one of the scriptures that really open things up for me, and that's Proverbs 19:17. It says, "Kindness to the poor is a loan to God, and he will reward the lender." When I read that, I was like blown away. Wow, are you kidding me? You can loan money to God and he'll repay with interest. And so that blew my mind. And when I was giving to the church, I loved tithe checks, blessing the ministry and the work that's going on there. And let me just add about sowing to ministries, which is also sometimes very fruitful ground. But it allows you to partake in a ministry that you can't otherwise be at. Say there's a ministry that functions in Mozambique, and they're running an orphanage or something. You may not have the money or the time to physically fly there and help them out, but you can take the proceeds of your labor and give them some of that, and you get credit from God for helping that ministry. You're actually, and they call it partnering, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're partnering. So you can be a part of that ministry by giving to it. And I loved doing that kind of stuff. Easy to be joyful. Where I started having a problem was, the Bible also says this, "Give to whoever asks." And so I was convicted every time I saw somebody working a sign, we'll work for food, or you pull into a gas station at different parts of town and you get somebody coming up to you, "Hey man, hey they give you their little hustle speech, which you knew was just a con. They really just wanted money. And I didn't like being lied to. And so it vexed me and it agitated me. And if I gave them money, it was just like, "I know you're lying to me, but here." And so here's something that the Lord gave me directly. And it really set me free in that area, because I knew that he loved a joyful giver, cheerful giver. Actually, the root word is hilarious, where we would get the word hilarious. So what he showed me was to sanctify money. And so I actually will take money, and I'll get it all in ones, and then I'll bundle them up in little individual things. In this case, I'll go $10. So I just rubber band little $10 things, and I put them in my visor. And now that's sanctified, set aside just for that purpose. And so as I'm driving, and the first time, now I've sanctified some money, and I want to go loan God some money. I was excited about this concept. I was really thrilled the Lord showed this to me. And so I'm driving around. Any day of the year, you drive around here in Sacramento, there are people working signs at every single major intersection. And I kid you not, I drove around for a half a day trying to find somebody to give some money to before I finally did. It was crazy. But now, it's a regular habit. I keep the stuff in there. And now, instead of I pull up to a stoplight and see somebody at the corner, instead of kind of playing with my radio and pretending I'm fiddling with something in my car so I don't have to look at them, I'm rolling down my window, hey, come on over here. Hurry up, the light's changing. I got some money for you. It's a joy every time I see them. And if I'm at the gas station, I see somebody, and it's like, if I even think they're walking my way, "Hey, what's up? You okay? You need money? Got you covered. Here, come over here." So it's a blessing to loan God money. That's exactly how I look at that. And he will repay with interest. And so if that blesses you, half of it bless me, it'll rock you. Some of the other scriptures that talk about giving. "One man gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous man will prosper, and he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed." So the Bible just talks about being generous. And I want to point out, too, something lately. And when I say lately, I would say in the last year or so. The Lord has been speaking to me. And I don't know if there's a witness out there, if he's doing the same thing to you or if it's just me. But he's been telling me, generous, be generous. Err on the side of generosity. In other words, if you're going to give, if you're going to go one way or the other, give too much. And so I kind of been doing that. When I'm leaving a tip, it's just, my wife looks at it, well, what are you doing? It's like, oh, just, I'm being generous. Leave me alone. And so, and it works. God has been faithful. I always have more than enough. My business is even in these down economic times, we are picking up. We are growing. We are probably as busy now as we probably ever have been. And it's all because of God. It's nothing because of me, because I'm uneducated, just a schlemp. Don't really know anything about business. And God's just faithful. So I want to leave that with you. I hope it blesses you. So be at peace.